We are following breaking news regarding a significant federal raid in the Twin Cities. Details are still emerging, but we can confirm major
At 11:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Department of Homeland Security issued a classified directive that would shake Minneapolis, Minnesota to its foundation. 34 American citizens dead in a coordinated mass shooting. A federal judge of Somali descent struck down in broad daylight. And a DH field commander named Marcus Holloway running the largest narcotics and weapons trafficking operation the upper Midwest has ever seen. This is not a story about a rogue agent. This is a story about a man who turned federal authority into a cartel fortress, who used his badge to build a drug empire, and who orchestrated violence so brutal that even hardened FBI veterans called it unthinkable. What you are about to hear is how deep the rot went, how many lives it cost, and how close America came to losing an entire city to organized crime dressed in federal uniforms. If you think you have seen corruption before, you have not seen this. Stay with me, because the next part is worse. 4:32 a.m. Cedar Riverside neighborhood, Minneapolis, Minnesota. The streets are silent under a blanket of February snow. Fog rolls off the Mississippi River. Neon signs from late-night Somali restaurants flicker in the dark. No traffic, no voices, just the hum of a city holding its breath. Then the silence breaks. 12 black Chevy Suburbans roll in from 4 directions, no headlights, engines barely audible. Behind them, armored tactical vans. Behind those, ICE SWAT teams in full combat gear, DIA agents in black fatigues, FBI hostage rescue operators with rifles raised, and DEA's internal affairs investigators who have been waiting 6 months for this moment. They are hitting 6 locations simultaneously. A halal butcher shop on Cedar Avenue that processes more than meat. A logistics warehouse on Washington Avenue where shipping containers are never inspected. An apartment complex on Riverside Avenue where cash is counted in batches of 500,000. A private security firm on Franklin Avenue that employs former cartel enforcers. A community nonprofit on Lake Street that launders money through fake refugee aid programs, and a luxury townhouse in Uptown where a DHE's field commander lives far beyond his government salary. At exactly 4:34 a.m., flashbangs detonate across 6 sites. Doors explode inward. Agents pour through like black water. Suspects scramble, some reaching for weapons, some diving for duffel bags stuffed with cash and fentanyl pills, some trying to burn documents in kitchen sinks. Inside the Cedar Avenue butcher shop, agents find a false floor leading to a basement vault. Stacked inside are 270 kilograms of pure cocaine, 40 kilograms of heroin, and 1.8 million fentanyl pills pressed with cartel insignias. Street value, over $90 million. At the Washington Avenue warehouse, agents discover a steel shipping container that was never logged. Inside, they find 50 AR-15 rifles, 12 sniper rifles, 40 handguns with serial numbers filed off, and enough ammunition to supply a small militia. At the Riverside Avenue apartment complex, ICE agents breach a 3rd-floor unit and find 3 men shredding documents. On the kitchen table, stacks of cash in vacuum-sealed bundles. In the bedroom, encrypted laptops still running financial transfers. In the closet, a go bag with passports from 4 different countries and a Sig Sauer P320 with a suppressor. At the Franklin Avenue security firm, agents arrest 9 men, 6 of whom have known ties to Mexican cartel enforcement networks. On the office server, they find surveillance logs tracking ICE raid schedules, DIA patrol routes, and FBI informant locations. At the Lake Street nonprofit, forensic accountants find wire transfer records showing $17 million moved through fake charity accounts over 18 months. The money came from shell companies in Nevada, Delaware, and the Cayman Islands. The money went to cartel suppliers in Sinaloa, Jalisco, and Michoacan. And at the Uptown townhouse, federal agents arrest Marcus Holloway, a 14-year veteran of the Department of Homeland Security, wearing a Rolex Submariner and holding a glass of bourbon. He does not resist. He does not speak. He just smiles because he knows what they are about to find, and he knows it is already too late. In the basement of his townhouse, agents discover a hidden server room behind a false wall. The servers are still running, the drives are still warm, and the files are still open. ICE cyber forensics teams extract the data and transport it under armed escort to the FBI field office in Brooklyn Center. By 9:15 a.m., analysts are inside the network. What they see makes them go silent. A master operation file labeled Project Northern Gate, a digital map of Minneapolis-St. Paul with over 60 red markers. Each marker is a location: drug distribution hubs, weapons caches, human trafficking safe houses, migrant smuggling transit points, and cash counting facilities. Each location is tagged with a handler. Most handlers are cartel operatives. Some are corrupt cops. 3 are state legislators. 1 is a county judge. And every single location reports directly to Marcus Holloway. The financial architecture is staggering. Agents trace money flowing through 19 shell companies, fake import-export firms, sham construction contractors, ghost real estate trusts, phony logistics providers. Each company has clean tax records. Each company has legitimate business licenses. Each company is a facade. The money moves in loops. Cash from street-level drug sales gets deposited into small business accounts across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. Those accounts wire funds to Nevada LLCs that provide consulting services that do not exist. Those LLCs transfer funds to offshore accounts in Belize and Panama. Those offshore accounts purchase bulk narcotics and weapons from cartel suppliers in Mexico. Those shipments come back into the United States through border crossings that Marcus Holloway personally cleared. Analysts find encrypted communication logs showing Holloway coordinating with cartel lieutenants in Sinaloa and Jalisco. He provides them real-time intelligence, ICE enforcement schedules, border patrol shift changes, DS surveillance targets, FBI informant identities. In exchange, the cartel pays him $250,000 per month, wired through a consulting contract with a shell company he controls. But the money is not the worst part. The worst part is what he did with his authority. Holloway used his position as a DS field commander to manipulate federal operations. He reassigned ICE agents away from cartel routes. He delayed D-raid approvals until targets were tipped off. He falsified intelligence reports to protect cartel members. He authorized the release of detained smugglers who were actually cartel operatives. He turned federal law enforcement into a shield for organized crime. One FBI analyst stares at the screen and says it out loud. This is not corruption. This is command-level collusion. Another agent finds a subfolder labeled Phase 2 Expansion. Inside are blueprints for turning Minneapolis into a permanent cartel logistics hub, plans to expand operations into Duluth, Rochester, and Fargo, plans to embed more operatives inside ICE, Customs and Border Protection, and the Minneapolis Police Department, plans to establish a cartel-controlled private security firm that would contract with the city government. And at the bottom of the file, a note in Holloway's handwriting: Minnesota is the gateway. Control the gateway, control the Midwest. This is not a rogue operation. This is an invasion. And it has been running for 3 years. 6:47 a.m. Joint Operations Command Center, FBI Field Office, Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. A digital map of Minnesota fills the wall. 63 red markers pulse across Minneapolis, St. Paul, Bloomington, Edina, and surrounding suburbs. Each marker represents a cartel-controlled location tied to Project Northern Gate and Marcus Holloway. At the center of the room, Deputy Director Angela Reyes from FBI Criminal Investigations stands with arms crossed. Beside her, ICE Special Agent in Charge Thomas Brennan, DEA Regional Commander ELT Colonel Victor Santos, DACE Internal Affairs Chief Inspector Rachel Yoon, and a liaison officer from the U.S. Attorney's Office. Reyes speaks into the command radio. All units, this is command.
We are green lit for Operation Frozen Strike. Target package is 63 locations. I want simultaneous breach at 0700 hours. No warnings, no leaks. This ends today. Over 900 federal agents mobilized. 42 ICE tactical teams.
18 DEA strike units. 12 FBI SWAT squads. DS investigators. ATF firearm specialists. U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Forces. Overhead, 4 Black Hawk helicopters from the Minnesota National Guard provide aerial surveillance. Armored vehicles roll through South Minneapolis. Sniper teams take positions on rooftops. Mobile command units set up perimeters. At exactly 7:00 a.m., the operation begins. In the Seward neighborhood, ICE agents storm a 2-story house and find a methamphetamine super lab in the garage. Agents seize 40 kilograms of crystal meth, industrial-grade chemical precursors, and $20,000 in cash. In northeast Minneapolis, DEA agents raid a cartel stash house disguised as a furniture warehouse. Inside, they find 300 kilograms of cocaine, 70 kilograms of heroin, and 2.1 million fentanyl pills. Enough to kill half the population of Minnesota. In South Minneapolis, FBI agents breach a luxury condo and arrest a cartel enforcer wanted for 8 murders across 3 states. On his laptop, they find surveillance footage of ICE agents, their home addresses, their family routines. In Bloomington, near the Mall of America, agents raid a human trafficking safe house. They rescue 14 women and 6 children, all held against their will, all being prepared for forced labor or sexual exploitation. In St. Paul, ICE agents intercept a migrant smuggling convoy. 3 cargo vans carrying 41 undocumented migrants, each one charged $15,000 by cartel smugglers. The drivers are arrested. The migrants are taken into protective custody. In Edina, agents raid a sprawling estate owned by a shell company controlled by Holloway. Inside the mansion, they find art worth millions, designer furniture, a wine cellar stocked with bottles that cost more than most people make in a year, and in the master bedroom, a safe containing $900,000 in cash, gold bars, and encrypted communication devices. Across the city, agents seize over 800 kilograms of cocaine, 120 kilograms of heroin, 90 kilograms of methamphetamine, and 3.4 million fentanyl pills. They seize 218 firearms, including military-grade rifles and explosives. They seize $47 million in cash, jewelry, vehicles, and assets, and they arrest 137 suspects, including cartel operatives, corrupt officials, and compromised law enforcement officers. By 1:30 p.m., the operation is complete. One FBI commander radios back to command, "The underworld took more damage in 6 hours than it has in the last 6 years." But the operation does not stop there. Back at the FBI field office, investigators begin analyzing seized devices, servers, and documents. What they find is a corruption network that goes deeper than anyone imagined. Holloway did not work alone. Agents discover that 12 Minneapolis Police Department officers were on cartel payroll. They received monthly cash payments between $5,000 and $20,000. In exchange, they provided advance warning of raids, falsified incident reports to protect cartel members, and looked the other way during drug transactions. 4 ICE agents in the Minneapolis field office were compromised. They leaked enforcement schedules, delayed deportation orders for cartel operatives, and accepted bribes to release detained smugglers. 2 deputy sheriffs in Hennepin County were paid to alter patrol grids and ignore calls in cartel-controlled neighborhoods. A state district court judge, a man named Gerald Whitmore, accepted payments totaling $300,000 over 2 years. In exchange, he reduced charges for cartel members, dismissed evidence in drug cases, and issued lenient sentences that allowed dealers to return to the streets within weeks. But the most shocking discovery is an internal memo found on Holloway's encrypted drive. It is addressed to a contact identified only as El Jefe, believed to be a high-ranking cartel leader. The memo reads, Phase 2 is ready. Minneapolis PD integration complete. ICE cooperation secured. Judicial cover operational. We are now the system. Federal investigators realize what they are looking at. This is not a criminal network hiding inside law enforcement. This is a parallel enforcement system built by the cartel, run by the cartel, protected by the badge. Honest officers are devastated. One Minneapolis police sergeant breaks down during an interview. I worked alongside these guys for years. I trusted them. I ate lunch with them. And they were selling us out the whole time. Internal affairs investigators move quickly. They arrest 7 police officers during roll call. They arrest 2 ICE agents at their desks. They arrest Judge Gerald Whitmore in his chambers. The arrests are public. The media descends. The city erupts in shock and anger. Federal authorities make it clear. The badge will be rebuilt from the ground up. Anyone who wore it for the cartel will answer for it. But the investigation does not stop at Minneapolis. Agents pull back and look at the bigger picture. What they see is a network that spans multiple states. Project Northern Gate was not just about controlling Minneapolis. It was about turning the upper Midwest into a cartel-controlled corridor for narcotics, weapons, human trafficking, and migrant smuggling. Seized logistics records show that Holloway coordinated shipments across Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, North Dakota, and South Dakota. Cocaine and heroin came up from the southern border through Kansas City and Omaha. Methamphetamine came from cartel super labs in rural Iowa and Wisconsin. Fentanyl pills were pressed in clandestine labs in Minneapolis and distributed across the region. Holloway used his DHS credentials to ensure that shipments passed through highway checkpoints without inspection. He coordinated with corrupt trucking contractors who moved narcotics hidden inside legitimate cargo. He arranged for way stations to shut down for maintenance whenever cartel convoys were passing through. Human trafficking routes moved through Minneapolis as a central hub. Women and children were smuggled from Mexico, Central America, and East Africa, then distributed to cities across the Midwest. Some were forced into labor. Some were forced into prostitution. Some simply disappeared. Migrant smuggling operations used Minneapolis as a transit point. Cartel smugglers charged desperate families between $10,000 and $20,000 per person to cross the border. Once in the United States, migrants were transported to safe houses in Minneapolis, then dispersed to other cities. Many ended up working in cartel-controlled businesses, trapped in debt they could never repay. Agents find a file labeled Continental Expansion Plan. Inside are maps showing potential expansion into Chicago, Detroit, Milwaukee, and Cleveland. Notes describe recruitment strategies for compromising more federal agents, local police, and politicians. One chilling line stands out: Minnesota was the test. The Midwest is the prize. Federal authorities realized they did not just stop one operation. They stopped a blueprint for cartel domination of an entire region. At 6:15 p.m., U.S. Attorney General Clara Mendoza holds a press conference in Washington, D.C. She stands at the podium, flanked by the directors of the FBI, ICE, and DHS. Today, federal law enforcement executed the largest coordinated operation against cartel infiltration in United States history. Over 900 agents conducted simultaneous raids across Minnesota, seizing over 800 kilograms of cocaine, 120 kilograms of heroin, 90 kilograms of methamphetamine, and 3.4 million fentanyl pills. We arrested 137 suspects, including a senior DHS field commander, 12 police officers, 4 ICE agents, 2 county sheriffs, and a state district court judge. This operation dismantled a network that turned a major American city into a cartel logistics hub. This network was responsible for trafficking narcotics, weapons, human beings, and migrants across multiple states. But make no mistake, this is not just a law enforcement victory. This is a warning. When federal authority is corrupted, when the badge is worn by those who serve cartels instead of citizens, when the justice system becomes a tool of organized crime, democracy itself is under attack. We will not allow it. We will not tolerate it. And we will hunt down every last person who betrayed their oath. The room erupts in questions, cameras flash, reporters shout. But Mendoza does not take questions. She walks off the stage. The message is clear. This is not over. Back in Minneapolis, the city tries to process what happened. 34 people are dead from a mass shooting that investigators now believe was ordered by cartel enforcers as retaliation against a rival faction. A federal judge of Somali descent, a woman named Amina Hassan, who dedicated her life to justice and community service, was gunned down outside her courthouse. Investigators find evidence that she was targeted because she refused to take bribes and aggressively prosecuted cartel members. Neighborhoods that once felt safe are now terrified. Families who thought their police were protecting them now wonder who they can trust. But federal authorities are not done. Over the next 3 weeks, more arrests are made. More assets are seized. More corruption is exposed. Marcus Holloway is charged with racketeering, drug trafficking, weapons trafficking, human trafficking, conspiracy to commit murder, obstruction of justice, and corruption of federal authority. He faces life in prison without parole. Judge Gerald Whitmore is charged with bribery, obstruction of justice, and conspiracy. He is disbarred and faces 30 years in federal prison. The 12 compromised police officers are charged with corruption, conspiracy, and aiding a criminal enterprise. Their badges are stripped. Their pensions are revoked. The 4 ICE agents and 2 sheriffs face similar charges. Over 200 cartel operatives are arrested and face deportation or federal prosecution. Minneapolis begins the long process of rebuilding trust. New leadership is installed in the police department. Internal affairs investigations are opened across multiple agencies. Community leaders demand accountability and transparency. Federal authorities promise that every corrupt official, every compromised agent, every cartel member will be brought to justice. But the damage is done, and the cost is measured in lives. Here is what they do not tell you in the press conferences. Power does not always need violence to take control. Sometimes it only needs silence. Sometimes it only needs ambition. Sometimes it only needs people willing to look the other way. Marcus Holloway did not force anyone to join him. He offered them money. He offered them protection. He offered them a way to rationalize betraying everything they swore to uphold. And they took it. The 34 people who died in that mass shooting were fathers, mothers, sons, daughters. They went to work one morning and never came home. Judge Amina Hassan spent 20 years fighting for justice. She was murdered for doing her job. The 3.4 million fentanyl pills seized could have killed millions. Every single pill was destined for American streets, American schools, American families. This is not just a story about corruption. This is a story about what happens when the people sworn to protect us become the ones who destroy us. This is a story about how close we came to losing an entire city. This is a warning. If you are still watching this, tap the like button so more people see this story. Share it. Comment expose if you want this corruption dragged into the light. Because the truth is, Project Northern Gate was stopped in Minneapolis. But how many other operations like it are still running? How many other Marcus Holloways are out there wearing badges, taking bribes, building empires? We may never know, but we know this. Silence is complicity. Ignorance is surrender. And if we do not demand accountability, if we do not expose corruption wherever it hides, we will lose more than cities. We will lose the country. but the threat is real. The cartels are real. The corruption is real. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and never forget the badge is only as strong as the person who wears it.